Hey, it's Fahad. I'm taking an extra minute to make sure everyone knows where the stream is happening. Oh, dumbasseroo. Yeah, I know. Alright. Are we ready? How many people are here? It looks alike. It looks alike. Oh, right. In my Streamlabs is set. Yeah. Oh boy. We have an issue. We have an issue. Streamlabs is linked to my YouTube account, so I can't read the chat from the Streamlabs thing. So, who all is ready for the Iliad again? I would like to read more of the Iliad. Well, that's cool. No kidding. Oh, I seem to have dropped my phone. Yeah. So, last we left off. Last we left off, Zeus had promised Thetis, mother of Achilles, that he would bring ruin unto the Greeks for Agamemnon's treatment of Achilles. And that was the end of Book 1. Here we have Book 2. Book 2. Zeus, keeping his promise, tricks Agamemnon with a false dream into imagining he can capture Troy at once. Agamemnon craftily tests the spirit of his men by telling them that Zeus has bidden him give up the siege. Athene, sent by Hera, inspires Odysseus to oppose the plan, and with Nestor he incites the host to continue the struggle. Both armies muster for battle, and their chiefs and forces are counted. Now the other gods and the armed warriors on the plain slept soundly, but Zeus was wakeful. You sound wired today, Chodolin. Yeah, Chodolin, he sounds wired. For he was thinking of how to do honor to Achilles and destroy much people at the ships of the Achaeans. In the end, In the end, he deemed it would be best to send a lying dream to King Agamemnon. So he called one to him and said to it, "Lying dream, go to the ships of the Achaeans, into the tent of Agamemnon, and say to him word for word as I now bid you. Tell him to get the Achaeans instantly under arms, for he shall take Troy. There are no longer divided councils among the gods. Hera has brought them to her own mind, and woe betides the Trojans." The dream went when it heard its message, and soon reached the ships of the Achaeans. It sought Agamemnon, son of Atreus, and found him in his tent, wrapped in a profound slumber. It hovered over his head in the likeness of Nestor, son of Neleus, whom Agamemnon honored above all his counselors, and said, "You are sleeping, son of Atreus. One who has the welfare of his host and so much other care upon his shoulders should dock his sleep. Hear me at once, for I come as a messenger from Zeus, who, though he may be not near, yet takes thought of you and pities you. He bides you get the Achaeans instantly under arms, for you shall take Troy. There are no longer divided councils among the gods. Hera has brought them over to her own mind, and woe betide the Trojans at the hands of Zeus. Remember this, and when you wake, see that it does not escape you." This ain't P3. This ain't it, Chief. I told you it wouldn't be P3. P3. I told you this wouldn't be P3. So I don't know why you're up in here expecting P3. I'm gonna have the Discord open so I can read those comments too. The dream then left him, and he thought of things that were surely not to be accomplished. He thought that on that same day he was to take the city of Priam, but little he knew what was in the mind of Zeus, who had many another hard-fought fight in store alike for the Danaans and Trojans. Then presently he woke, with the divine message still ringing in his ears. So he sat upright, and put on his soft shirt so fair and new over his heavy cloak. He bound his sandals on to his comely feet, and slung his silver-studded sword about his shoulders. Then he took the imperishable staff of his father, and sallied forth to the ships of the Achaeans. The goddess Dawn now wended her way to vast Olympus, that she might herald day to Zeus and to the other immortals. And Agamemnon sent the criers round to call the people in assembly. So they called them, and the people gathered thereon. But first he summoned a meeting of the elders of the ship of Nestor, king of Pylos, and when they were assembled he laid a cunning counsel before them. "My friends," said he, "I have had a dream from heaven in the dead of night, and its face and figure resembled none but Nestor's. It hovered over my head and said, 'You are sleeping, son of Atreus. One who has the welfare of his host and so much other care upon his shoulders should dark his sleep. Hear me at once. God damn it. Hear me at once, for I am a messenger of Zeus, who, though he be not near, yet takes thought for you and pities you. He bids you get the Achaeans instantly under arms, for you shall take Troy. There are no longer divided councils among the gods. Hera has brought them over to her own mind, and woe betides the Trojans at the hands of Zeus. Remember this." The dream then vanished, and I awoke. Let us now, therefore, arm the sons of the Achaeans. But it will be well that I should first sound them, and to this end I will tell them to fly with their ships. But do you others go about among the host and prevent their doing so." He then sat down, and Nestor, the prince of Pylos, God damn it, I can't fucking read today. I don't know what the hell it is. He then sat down, and Nestor, prince of Pylos, with all sincerity and goodwill, addressed him thus. "My friends," said he, "princes and counselors of the Argives." Why am I yawning? Jesus Christ. "If any other man of the Achaeans had told us of this dream, we should have declared it false, and would have had nothing to do with it. But he who has seen it is the foremost man among us. We must therefore set about getting the people under arms." With this he led the way from the assembly, and the other sceptred kings rose with him in obedience to the word of Agamemnon. But the people pressed forward to hear. They swarmed like bees that sally from some hollow cave, and flit in countless throng among the spring flowers, bunched in knots and clusters. Even so did the mighty multitude pour from ships and tents to the assembly, and ranged themselves upon the wide-watered shore, while among them ran Wildfire Rumor, messenger of Zeus, urging them ever to the fore. Thus they gathered in a pell-mell of mad confusion, and the earth groaned under the tramp of men as the people sought their places. 9 heralds went crying out among them to stay their tumult and bid them listen to the kings, till at last they were got into their several places and ceased their clamor. Can we read Captain Underpants? No, we cannot. Shit. Then King Agamemnon rose, holding his scepter. This was the work of Hephaestus, who gave it to Zeus, the son of Cronus. Zeus gave it to Hermes, slayer of Argus, guide and guardian. King Hermes gave it to Pelops, the mighty charioteer, and Pelops to Atreus, shepherd of his people. Atreus, when he died, left it to Thyestes, rich in flocks, And Thyestes in his turn left it to be borne by Agamemnon, that he might be lord of all Argos and of the isles. Leaning then on his scepter, he addressed the Argives. That was a really firm no. It was. "My friends," he said, "heroes, servants of Ares, the hand of heaven has been laid heavily upon me. Cruel Zeus gave me his solemn promise that I should sack the city of Priam before returning. But he has played me false, and is now bidding me go ingloriously back to Argos with the loss of much people. Such is the will of Zeus, who has laid many a proud city in the dust, as he will yet lay others. For his power is above all. It will be a sorry tale hereafter that an Achaean host, at once so great and valiant, battled in vain against men fewer in number than themselves. But as yet the end is not in sight. Think that the Achaeans and Trojans have sworn to a solemn covenant, and that they have each been numbered, the Trojans by the roll of their householders, and we by companies of 10. Think further that each of our companies desire to have a Trojan householder to pour out their wine. We are so greatly more in number that full many a company would have to go without its cupbearer. But they have in the town many allies from other places, and it is these that hinder me from being able to sack the rich city of Ilium. 9 of Zeus's years are gone. The timbers of our ships have rotted. Their tackling is sound no longer. Our wives and little ones at home look anxiously for our coming, but the work that we came hither to do has not been done. Now, therefore, let us all do as I say. Let us sail back to our own land, for we shall not take Troy." With these words he moved the hearts of the multitude, so many of them as knew not the cunning counsel of Agamemnon. They surged to and fro like the waves of the Icarian Sea, when the east and south winds break from heaven's clouds to lash them, or as when the west wind seeps over a field of corn, and the ears bow beneath the blast. Even so they were swayed as they flew with loud cries towards the ships, and the dust from under their feet rose heavenward. They cheered each other on to draw the ships into the sea. They cleared the channels in front of them. They began taking away the strays from underneath them, and the welkin rang with their glad cries, so eager were they to return. What about Diary of a Wimpy Kid? No. Then surely the Argives would have returned after a fashion that was not fated. But Hera said to Athene, "Alas, daughter of Aegis-bearing Zeus, unweariable, shall the Argives fly home to their own land over the broad sea, and leave Priam and the Trojans the glory of still keeping Helen, for whose sake so many of the Achaeans have died at Troy, far from their homes? Go about at once amongst the host, and speak fairly to them, man by man, that they may draw not their ships into the sea." Athene was not slack to do her bidding. Down she darted from the topmost summits of Olympus, and in a moment she was at the ships of the Achaeans. There she found Odysseus, peer of Zeus in council, standing alone. He had as not yet laid a hand upon his ship, for he was grieved and sorry. So she went close to him and said, "Odysseus, noble son of Laertes, are you going to fling yourselves into your ships, and be off home to your own land in this way? Will you leave Priam and the Trojans the glory of still keeping Helen, for whose sake so many of the Achaeans have died at Troy, far from their homes? Go about at once among the host, and speak fairly to them, man by man, that they may draw not their ships into the sea." Odysseus knew the voice as that of the goddess. He flung his cloak from him, and set off to run. His servant Eurybates, a man of Ithaca, who waited on him, took charge of the cloak, whereon Odysseus went straight up to Agamemnon, and received from him ancestral imperishable staff. With this he went about among the ships of the Achaeans. Whenever he met a king or chieftain, he stood by him and spoke him fairly. "Sir," he said, "this flight is cowardly and unworthy. Stand to your post, and bid your people also keep their places. You do not know yet the full mind of Agamemnon. He was sounding us, and ere long will visit the Achaeans with his displeasure. We were not all of us at the council to hear what he then said. See to it lest he be angry and do us a mischief, for the pride of kings is great, and the hand of Zeus is with them." But when he came across any common man who was making a noise, he struck them with his staff and rebuked them, saying, Sirrah, hold your peace and listen to better men than yourself. You are a coward and no soldier. You are nobody either in fight or council. We cannot all be kings. It is not well that there should be many masters. One man must be supreme, one king to whom the son of scheming Cronus has given the scepter of sovereignty over you all. Thus masterfully did he go about among the host, and the people hurried back to the council from their tents and ships, with a sound as the thunder of surf when it comes crashing down upon the shore, and all the seas in an uproar. The rest now took their seats, and kept to their own several places. But Thersites still went on wagging his unbridled tongue, a man of many words, and those unseemly, a monger of sedition, a railer against all who were in authority, who cared not what he said, so that he might set the Achaeans in a laugh. He was the ugliest man of all those that came before Troy, bandy-legged, lame on one foot, with his two shoulders rounded and hunched over his chest. His head ran up to a point, but there was little hair on the top of it. Achilles and Odysseus hated him worst of all, for it was with them that he was most wont to wrangle. Now, however, with a shrill, squeaky voice, he began heaping his abuse on Agamemnon. The Achaeans were angry and disgusted, yet nonetheless he kept on brawling and bawling at the son of Atreus.
Agamemnon, he cried, what ails you now, and what more do you want? Your tents are filled with bronze and fair women, for wherever we take a town, we give you the pick of them. Would you have yet more gold with some Trojan which some Trojan is to give you as a ransom for his son, when I or another Achaean has taken him prisoner? Or is it some young girl to hide away and lie with? It is not well that you, the ruler of the Achaeans, should bring them into such misery. Weaklings, cowards, women rather than men, let us sail home, and leave this fellow here at Troy to stew in his own meads of honor, and discover whether we were of any service to him or no. Achilles is a much better man than he is, and see how he has treated him, robbing him of his prize, and keeping it himself. Achilles takes it meekly and shows no fight. If he did, son of Atreus, you would never again insult him.
Thus railed Thersites, but Odysseus at once went up to him, and rebuked him sternly. Check your glib tongue, Thersites, said he, and babble not a word further. Chide not with princes when you have none to back you. There is no viler creature come before Troy with the sons of Atreus. Drop this chatter about kings, and neither revile them nor keep harping about going home. We do not yet know how things are going to be, nor whether the Achaeans are to return with good success or evil. How dare you jibe at Agamemnon because the Danaans have awarded him so many prizes? I tell you, therefore, and it shall surely be, that if I again catch you talking such nonsense, I will either forfeit my own head and be no more called father of Telemachus, or I will take you, strip you stark naked, and whip you out of the assembly till you go blubbering back to the ships. On this he beat him with his staff about the back and shoulders, till he dropped and fell a-weeping. The golden scepter raised a bloody weal on his back, so he sat down frightened and in pain, looking foolish as he wiped the tears from his eyes. The people were sorry for him, yet they laughed heartily, and one would turn to his neighbor, saying, Odysseus has done many a good thing ere now in fight and council, but he never did give the Argives a better turn than when he stopped this fellow's mouth from prating further. He will give the kings no more of his insolence. Thus said the people. Then Odysseus rose, scepter in hand, and Athene in the likeness of a herald bade the people be still, that those who were far off might hear him and consider his counsel. He therefore, with all sincerity and goodwill, addressed them thus. King Agamemnon, the Achaeans are for making you a byword among all mankind. They forget the promise they made you when they set out from Argos, that you should not return until you had sacked the town of Troy, and, like children or widowed women, they murmur and would set off homeward. True it is that they have had toil enough to be disheartened. A man chafes at having to stay away from his wife, even for a single month, when he is on shipboard, at the mercy of wind and sea. But it is now 9 long years that we have been kept here. I cannot, therefore, blame the Achaeans if they turn restive. Still, we shall be shamed if we go home empty after so long astray. Therefore, my friends, be patient yet a little longer, that we may learn whether the prophesyings of Calchas were false or true. All who have not since perished must remember as though it were yesterday, or the day before, how the ships of the Achaeans were detained in Aulis, when we were on our way hither to make war on Priam and the Trojans. We were ranged round about a fountain, offering hecatombs to the gods upon their holy altars, and there was a fine plane tree from beneath which there swelled a stream of pure water. Then we saw a prodigy. For Zeus sent a fearful serpent out of the ground, with blood-red stains upon its back, and had darted from under the altar onto the plane tree. Now there was a brood of young sparrows, quite small, upon the topmost bough, peeping out from under the leaves, 8 in all, and their mother that hatched them made 9. The serpent ate the poor cheeping things, while the old bird flew about lamenting her little ones. But the serpent threw his coils about her, and caught her by the wing as she was screaming. Then, when he had eaten both the sparrow and her young, the god who had sent him made him become a sign. For the son of scheming Cronus turned him to stone, and we stood there wondering at that which had come to pass. Seeing, then, that such a fearful portent had broken in upon our hecatombs, Calchas forthwith declared to us the oracles of heaven. Why, Achaeans, said he, are you thus speechless? Zeus has sent us this sign, long in coming and long ere it be fulfilled, though its fame shall last forever. As the serpent ate the 8 fledglings and the sparrow that had hatched with them, which makes 9, so shall we fight 9 years at Troy, but at the 10th shall take the town. This was what he had said, and now it was all coming true. Stay here, therefore, all of you, till we take the city of Priam. On this the Argives raised a shout, till the ships rang again with the uproar. Nestor, knight of Gerene, then addressed them. Shame on you, he cried, to stay here talking like children when you should fight like men. Where are our covenants now, and where are the oaths that we have taken? Shall our counsels be flung into the fire with our drink offerings and the right hands of fellowship, wherein we have put our trust? We waste our time in words, and for all our talking here shall be no further forward. Stand, therefore, son of Atreus, by your own steadfast purpose. Lead the Argives on to battle, and leave this handful of men to rot, who scheme in vain, to get back to Argos, ere they have learned whether Zeus be true or a liar. For the mighty son of Cronus surely promised that we would succeed, when we Argives set sail to bring death and destruction upon the Trojans. He showed us favorable signs by flashing his lightning on our right hands. Therefore let none make haste to go till he has first lain with the wife of some Trojan, and avenged the toil and sorrow that he has suffered for the sake of Helen. Nevertheless, if any man is in such haste to be at home again, let him lay his hand to his ship, that he may meet his doom in the sight of all. But, O king, consider, and give ear to my counsel, for the word that I say may not be neglected lightly. Divide your men, Agamemnon, into their several tribes and clans, that clans and tribes may stand by and help one another. If you do this, and if the Achaeans obey you, you will find out who, both chiefs and peoples, are brave, and who are cowards, for they will vie one against the other. Thus you shall also learn whether it is through the counsel of heaven or the cowardice of man that you shall fail to take the town.
Can we watch Ed, Edd and Eddy? Maybe an episode of Om Nom? Absolutely not.
And Agamemnon answered, Nestor, you have again outdone the sons of the Achaeans in council. Would, by Father Zeus, Athene, and Apollo, that I had among them 10 more such counselors, for the city of King Priam would soon fall beneath our hands, and we should sack it. But the son of Cronus afflicts me with bootless wranglings and strife. Achilles and I are quarreling about this girl, in which matter I was the first to offend. If we can be of one mind again, the Trojans will not stave off destruction for a day. Now, therefore, get your morning meal, that our hosts may join in fight. Whet well your spears, see well to the ordering of your shields, give good feeds to your horses, and look your chariots carefully over, that we may do battle the livelong day. For we shall have no rest, not for a moment, till night falls to part us. The bands you bear your shields shall be wet with the sweat upon your shoulders. Your hands shall weary upon your spears. Your horses shall steam in front of your chariots. And if I see any man shirking the fight, or trying to keep out of it at the ships, there shall be no help for him, but he shall be a prey to dogs and vultures. Thus he spoke, and the Achaeans roared applause. As when the waves run high before the blast of the south wind, and break on some lofty headland, dashing against it and buffeting without ceasing as the storms from every quarter drive them, even so did the Achaeans rise and hurry in all directions to their ships. There they lighted their fires at their tents and got dinner, offering sacrifice every man to one or the other of the gods, and praying each one of them that he might live to come out of the fight. Agamemnon, king of men, sacrificed a fat 5-year-old bull to the mighty son of Cronus, and invited the princes and elders of his host. First he asked King Nestor and King Idomeneus, then the 2 Ajaxes and the son of Tydeus, and sixthly Odysseus, peer of gods in council. But Menelaus came of his own accord, for he knew how busy his brother was. They stood round the bull with the barley meal in their hands, and Agamemnon prayed, saying, Zeus, most glorious, supreme, that dwellest in heaven and ridest upon the storm cloud, grant that the sun may not go down, nor the night fall, till the palace of Priam is laid low, and its gates are consumed with fire. Grant that my sword may pierce the shirt of Hector about his heart, and that full many of his comrades may bite the dust as they fall dying round him.
I'm gonna take a short break. I need water. 1 second. Oh, I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. Let me, there we go. Sorry about that. Had to get some water. It was bothering my throat was bothering me. Had to get some, water. Let me open this bitch and drink out of it. Yeah. Oh my god. Oh. Oh. There we go.
Thus he prayed, but the son of Cronus would not fulfill his prayer. He accepted the sacrifice, yet nonetheless increased their toil continually. When they had done praying and sprinkling the barley meal upon the victim, they drew back its head, killed it, and then flayed it. They cut out the thigh bones, wrapped them round in 2 layers of fat, and set pieces of raw meat on the top of them. These they burned upon the split logs of firewood, but they spitted the inward meats and held them in the flames to cook. When the thigh bones were burned, they had tasted the inward meats. They cut the rest up small, put the pieces upon spits, roasted them until they were done, and drew them off. Then, when they had finished their work and the feast was ready, they ate it, and every man had his full share, so that all were satisfied. As soon as they had had enough to eat and drink, Nestor, king of Gerene, began to speak. "King Agamemnon," said he, "let us not stay talking here, nor be slack in the work that heaven has put into our hands. Let the heralds summon the people to gather at their several ships. We will then go about among the host, that we may begin fighting at once." Thus did he speak, and Agamemnon heeded his words. He at once sent the criers round to call the people in assembly. So they called them, and the people gathered thereon. The chiefs about the son of Atreus chose their men and marshaled them, while Athene went among them, holding her priceless Aegis, that knows neither age nor death. From it there waved 100 tassels of pure gold, all deftly woven, and each one of them worth 100 oxen. With this she darted furiously everywhere among the hosts of the Achaeans, urging them forward and putting courage into the hearts of each, so that he might fight and do battle without ceasing. Thus war became sweeter in their eyes even than returning home in their ships, as when some great forest fire is raging upon a mountaintop and its light is seen afar. Even so, as they marched, the gleam of their armor flashed up into the firmament of heaven. They were like great flocks of geese, or cranes, or swans on the plain about the waters of Caster, that wing their way hither and thither, glorying in the pride of flight, and crying as they settle, till the fen is alive with their screaming. Even thus did their tribes pour from ships and tents onto the plain of the Scamander, and the ground rang as brass under the feet of men and horses. They stood as thick upon the flower-bespangled field as leaves that bloom in summer. As countless swarms of flies buzz around a herdsman homestead in the time of spring, when the pails are drenched with milk, even so did the Achaeans swarm onto the plain to charge the Trojans and destroy them. The chiefs disposed their men in this way, and that before the fight began, drafting them out as easily as goat herds draft their flocks when they have gotten mixed while feeding. Hi, Thor. And among them went King Agamemnon, with a head and face like Zeus, the lord of thunder, a waist like Ares, and a chest like that of Poseidon. As some great bull that lords it over the herds upon the plains, even so did Zeus make the son of Atreus stand peerless among the multitude of heroes. And now, O Muses, dwellers in the mansions of Olympus, tell me, for you are goddesses and are in all places, so that you see all things, while we know nothing but by report, who were the chiefs and princes of the Danaans? As for the common soldiers, there were so many that I could not name every single one of them, though I had 10 tongues, and though my voice failed not, and my heart were bronze were in me. or my heart wore bronze within me. God. Unless you, O Olympian muses, daughters of aegis-bearing Zeus, were to recount them to me. Nevertheless, I will tell the captains of the ships, and all the fleet together. Peneleos, Leitus, Arcesilaus, Prothionor, and Clonius were captains of the Boeotians. These were they that dwelt in Hieria and rocky Aulis, and who held Sconus, Scolus, and the highlands of Eteonus, with Thespia, Graia, and the far city of Mycalessus. They also held Harma, Elysium, and Erythrae. And they held Elion, Hyle, and Petion, Ocalia, and the strong fortress of Medion, Copai, Eutressis, God, I can't fucking pronounce these names, I don't know why. Eutressis and Thisbe, the haunt of doves, Coronea, and the pastures of Haliartus, Plataea and Glyzus, the fortress of the Thebes, the less, holy Onchestus, with its famous grove of Neptune, Arn, rich in vineyards, Midea, sacred Nisa, and Anthedon upon the sea. From these there came 50 ships, and in each there were 120 young men of the Boeotians. Ascalaphus and Ealmenus, sons of Ares, led the people that dwelt in Aspledon and Orchomenus, the realm of Minyas. Astyache, a noble maiden, bore them in the house of Actor, son of Azaeus, for she had gone with Ares. This is a thick fucking page. She had gone with Ares secretly into an upper chamber, and he had lain with her. With these there came 30 ships. The Phocians were led by Schedius and Epistrophus, sons of mighty Iphitus, the son of Naubolus. These were they that held Kyparissus, rocky Pytho, holy Crisa, Daulis, and Panopeus. They also that dwelt in Anamoria and Hyampolis, and about the waters of the river Cephisus, and Lilia by the springs of the Cephisus. With their chieftains came 40 ships, and they marshalled the forces of the Phocians, which were stationed next to the Boeotians on their left. Drink some of this water. This one's gonna be rough on my voice. Holy shit, maybe this isn't what I should do. Maybe this was a bad idea. Ajax, the fleet son of Oileus, commanded the Locrians. He was not so great, nor nearly so great, as Ajax, the son of Telamon. He was a little man, and his breastplate was made of linen. But in use of the spear he excelled all the Hellenes and the Achaeans. These dwelt in Sinus, Opus, Caliaris, Bessa, Scarfa, fair Augue, Tarphe, and Thronium, about the river Boagrius. With him there came 40 ships of the Locrians, who dwell beyond Euboea. The fierce Abantes held Euboea with its cities, Colchis, Eretria, Histiaia, rich in vines, Corinthus upon the sea, and the rock-perched town of Dium. With them were also the men of Charistus and Styra. Elephenor of the race of Ares was in command of these. He was the son of Calcodon, and chief over all the Abantes. With him they came, fleet of foot, and wearing their hair long behind, brave warriors, who would ever strive to tear open the corselets of their foes with their long, ashen spears. His Nibiru hat. Oh, you're just being an asshole, alright. Of these there came 50 ships. And they that held the strong city of Athens, the people of great Erechtheus, who was born of the soil itself, but Zeus's daughter Athene fostered by him, and established him at Athens in her own rich sanctuary. There, year by year, the Athenian youths worship him with sacrifices of bulls and rams. These were commanded by Menestheus, son of Pedios. No man living could equal him in the marshalling of chariots and foot soldiers. Nestor could alone rival him, for he was older. With him there came 50 ships. Ajax brought 12 ships from Salamis, and stationed them alongside those of the Athenians. I have god powers. I'm modding this channel because I logged into Dave's account, modded you. Dave is also logged into Dave's account. So this is a beast with two heads that don't talk to each other, basically. All-powerful yellow highlighted Dave. Yep. The men of Argos, again, and those who held the walls of Tiryns, with Hermione and Asine upon the gulf, Troezene, Aeonii, and the vineyard lands of Epidaurus. The Achaean youths, moreover, who came from Aegina and Mases, these were led by Diomed of the loud battle cry, and Sthenelus, son of famed Capaneus. With them in command was Euryalus, son of Macistius, son of Teleus. But Diomed was chief over them all. With these there came 80 ships, those who held the strong city of Mycenae, rich Corinth and Cleonae, Orneae, Erythraea, and Sicyon, where Adrastus reigned of old, Hyperasia, High Gonoessa, and Pallane, Aegium, and all the coastland around Halys. These sent 100 ships under the command of King Agamemnon, son of Atreus. His force was far both finest and most numerous, and in their midst was the king himself, all glorious in his armor of gleaming bronze, foremost among the heroes, for he was the greatest king, and had most men underneath him. If I'm Fahad, who's watching the soup, Evil Houston doesn't double.
Yeah! I live in the soup.
I'm gonna grab another water.
Water. I need water. I need the water. 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 I lived in the soup. I was molded. I was born from the soup. Molded by it. I didn't see the light until I was a man.
Anyway. And those that dwelt in Lacedaemon, lying low among the hills, Pharas, Sparta with Messa, the haunt of doves, Briziae, Augiae, Amyclea, and Helos upon the seas, Las, moreover, and Otylas. These were led by Menelaus of the loud battle cry, brother to Agamemnon, and of them were 60 ships, drawn up apart from the others. Among them went Menelaus himself, strong in zeal, urging his men to fight, for he longed to avenge the toil and sorrow that he had suffered for the sake of Helen. The men of Pylos and Arene, and Thryum, where is the ford of the river Alpheus, strong Ipai, Kyparisius, and Amphigania, Telium, Helos, and Dorium, where the Muses met Thamyris, and instilled his minstrelsy forever. He was returning from Ocalia, where Eurydice lived and reigned, and boasted that he would surpass even the Muses, daughters of Aegis-bearing Zeus, if they should sing against him. Whereon they were angry and maimed him. They robbed him of his divine power of song, and thenceforth he could strike the lyre no longer. These were commanded by Nestor, knight of Gerene, and with them there came 90 ships. And those that held Arcadia, under the high mountain of Cyllene, near the tomb of Epitus, where the people fight hand to hand, the men of Phineus also, and Orchomenus, rich in flocks, of Rhypae, Stratia, and bleak Enispa, of Tegia and fair Mantinea, of Stymphalus and Pharhacia. Of these King Agapenor, son of Ancaeus, was commander, and they had 60 ships. Many Arcadians, good soldiers, came in each one of them, but Agamemnon found them the ships in which to cross the sea, for they were not a people that occupied their business upon the waters. The men, moreover, of Buprasium and of Elis, so much of it as it is enclosed between Hermine, Mercinus upon the seashore, the rock Oline, and Elysium. These had 4 leaders, and each of them had 10 ships, with many Epeans on board. Their captains were Amphimachus and Talphius, the one son of Cteatus, and the other of Eurytus, both of the race of Actor. The 2 others were Diores, son of Amerinches, and Polyxenus, son of Agasthenes, son of Augeas. And those of Dulichium, with the sacred Achinian islands, who dwelt upon the sea off Elis. These were led by Megas, peer of Ares, and the son of valiant Phyleus, dear to Zeus, who quarrelled with his father and went to settle in Dulichium. With him there came 40 ships. Odysseus led the brave Cephallenians, who held Ithaca, Neritum with its forests, Crocylea, rugged Aegyptus, Samos, and Zacynthus. With the mainland also was over against the islands. These were led by Odysseus, peer of Zeus in council, and with him there came 12 ships. Thoas, son of Andrymon, commanded the Aetolians, who dwelt in Pleuron, Olenus, Pylene, Colchis by the sea, and rocky Calydon, for the great king Oeneus had now no sons living, and was himself dead, as was also golden-haired Meleager, who had been set over to the Aetolians to be their king. And with Thoas there came 40 ships. The famous spearman Idomeneus led the Cretans, who held Knossos, and the well-walled city of Gordus. Lyctus also, Miletus, and Lycastus that lies upon the chalk. The populous towns of Phaistus and Rhythium, with the other peoples that dwelt in the 100 cities of Crete. All these were led by Idomeneus, and by Meriones, peer of murderous Ares. And with these there came 80 ships. Tlepolemus, son of Heracles, a man both brave and large of stature, brought 9 ships of lordly warriors from Rhodes. These dwelt in Rhodes, which is divided among the 3 cities of Lindus, Ielysus, and Camerus, that lies upon the chalk. These were commanded by Tlepolemus, son of Heracles by Astyochia, whom he had carried off from Ephyra on the river Selleis, after sacking many cities of valiant warriors. When Tlepolemus grew up, he killed his father's uncle Lysimneus, who had been a famous warrior in his time, but was then grown old. On this he built himself a great fleet, gathered a great following, and fled beyond the sea, for he was menaced by the other sons and grandsons of Heracles. After a voyage, during which he suffered great hardship, he came to Rhodes, where the people divided into 3 communities according to their tribes, and were dearly loved by Zeus, the lord of gods and men. Wherefore the son of Cronus showered down great riches upon them. And Nireus brought 3 ships from Syme. Nireus, who was the handsomest man that came up under Ilium, of all the Danaans after the son of Peleus, but he was a man of no substance, and had but a small following. And those that held Nisyrus, Crapathus, and Cossus with Cos, the city of Eurypylus, and the Calydnian islands, these were commanded by Pheidipus and Antiphus, 2 sons of King Thessalus, the son of Heracles. And with them there came 30 ships. Those again who held Pelasgic Argos, Alos, Alope, and Trachis, and those of Thea and Hellas, the land of fair women, who were called Myrmidons, Hellenes, and Achaeans, these had 50 ships, over which Achilles was in command. But now they took no part in the war, inasmuch as there was no one to marshal them. For Achilles stayed by his ships, furious about the loss of the girl Briseis, whom he had taken from Lyrnessus at his own great peril, when he had sacked the Lyrnessus in Thebe, and had overthrown Mines and Epistrophus, sons of King Evenor, son of Seleucus. For her sake Achilles was still grieving, but ere long he was again to join them. And those that held Phylake, and the flowery meadows of Pyrasus, Sanctumary of Demeter, Iton, mother of sheep, Antrum upon the sea, and Telum that lies upon the grasslands. Of these, brave Protesilaus had been captain while he was yet alive, but he was now lying under the earth. He had left a wife behind him in Phylake to tear her cheeks in sorrow, and his house was only half finished, for he was slain by a Dardanian warrior while leaping foremost of the Achaeans upon the soil of Troy. Still, though, his people mourned their chieftain. They were not without a leader, for Podarces of the race of Ares marshaled them. He was the son of Iphiclus, rich in sheep, who was the son of Phylacus, and he was own brother to Protesilaus, only younger, Protesilaus being at once the elder and the more valiant. So the people were not without a leader, though they mourned him who they had lost. With him there came 40 ships. My soup is fine, thank God. And those that held Pherae by the Boebean lake, with Boebe, Glapherae, and the populous city of Iolcus. These with their 11 ships were led by Eumelus, son of Admetus, whom Alcestis bore to him, loveliest of the daughters of Peleus. And those that held Methone and Thaumacia, with Melibea and rugged Olazon. These were led by the skillful archer Philoctetes, and they had 7 ships, each with 50 oarsmen, all of them good archers. But Philoctetes was lying in great pain in the island of Lemnos, where the sons of the Achaeans left him, for he had been bitten by a poisonous water snake. There he lay, sick and sorry, and full soon did the Argives come to miss him. But his people, though they felt his loss, were not leaderless, for Medon, the bastard son of Oilus by Rhene, set them in array. Those, again, of Tricca, by the stony region of Ithome, and they that held Oechalia, the city of Oechalian Eurytus. These were commanded by the 2 sons of Asclepius, skilled in the art of healing, Podalirius and Machaon, and with them there came 30 ships. I want to watch Omnom. I was really hoping Omnom wouldn't become a meme. Like, I guess I should have known better. I will unmod you, Fahan. I will unmod you. The men, moreover, of Ormenius, and by the fountain of Hyperia... Ah! You fucking asshole. Why did you have to do that? You didn't... No, don't meow at me, trying to look all cute. You didn't have to do that. You just did that to be an asshole. The men, moreover, over Omenius, and by the fountain of Hyperia, were those that held Asterius and the white crests of Titanus. These were led by Eurypylus, the son of Euaemon, and with them there came 40 ships. Ooga booga booga booga. Oh my goodness. Hold on. I heard my phone go off. Oh, there it is. Let me grab it. I read the Iliad in school. It was good. I mean, cool. If you like the Iliad, then you're in the right place, friend. Guneus brought 22 ships from Cyphus, and he was followed by the Aenians and the valiant Peribe, who dwelt about wintry Dodona, and held the lands round the lovely river Titaresius, which sends its waters into the Peneus. They do not mingle with the silver eddies of the Peneus, but flow on top of them like oil. For the Titaresius is a branch of dread Orcus, and of the river Styx. Of the Magnetes, Prothous, son of Tenthredron. God, that's fucking hard to say. Of the Magnetes, Prothous, son of Tenthredon, was commander. They were they that dwelt about the river Peneus and Mount Pelion. Prothous, fleet of foot, was their leader, and with him there came 40 ships. Such were the chiefs and princes of the Danaans, Who then, O Muse, was the foremost, whether man or horse, among those that followed after the sons of Atreus? Of the horses, those of the son of Pheres were by far the finest. They were driven by Eumelus, and they were as fleet as birds. They were of the same age and color, and perfectly matched in height. Apollo of the silver bow had bred them in Peria, both of them mares, and terrible as Ares in battle. Of the men, Ajax of Telamon was much in the foremost, so long as Achilles' anger lasted. For Achilles excelled him greatly, and he had also better horses. But Achilles was now holding aloof at his ships by reason of his quarrel with Agamemnon, and his people passed their time upon the seashore, throwing discs or aiming with spears at a mark. Orcs and anime mix. Make one hell of a show as our 3 ships come sailing in on Christmas Day. Oh my god. Their horses stood each by his own chariot, chomping lotus and wild celery. The chariots were housed under cover, but their owners, for lack of leadership, wandered hither and thither about the host and went not forth to fight. Thus marched the host like a consuming fire, and the earth groaned beneath them, as when the Lord of Thunder is angry and lashes the land about Typhoeus among the Aramai, where they say Typhus lays. Even so did the earth groan beneath them as they sped over the plain. And now Iris, fleet as the wind, was sent by Zeus to tell the bad news among the Trojans. They were gathered in assembly, old and young, at Priam's gates. And Iris came close up to Priam, speaking with the voice of Priam's son Polites, who, being fleet of foot, was stationed as watchman for the Trojans on the tomb of old Asietes, to look out for any sally of the Achaeans. In his likeness, Iris spoke, saying, Old man, you talk idly, as in time of peace, while war is at hand. I have been in many a battle, but never yet saw such a host as is now advancing. They are crossing the plain to attack the city as thick as leaves, or as over the sands of the sea. Hector, I charge you above all others, do as I say. There are many allies dispersed about the city of Priam, from distant places, and speaking divers tongues. Therefore, let each chief give orders to his own people, setting them severally in array, and leading them forth to battle. Thus he spoke, but Hector knew that it was the goddess, and at once broke up the assembly. The men flew to arms, and the gates were opened, and the people thronged through them, horse and foot, with the tramp as of a great multitude. Now there was a high mound before the city, rising by itself upon the plain. Men call it Batiaia. Men call it Batiaia, but the gods know that it is a tomb of lithe Myrene. Here the Trojans and their allies divided their forces. What are you doing, kitty? Priam's son, great Hector of the gleaming helmet, commanded the Trojans, and with him were arrayed by far the greater number and most valiant of those who were longing for the fray. The Dardanians were led by brave Aeneas, whom Aphrodite bore to Anchises, when she, goddess though she was, had lain with him upon the mountain slopes of Ida. He was not alone, for with him there were 2 sons of Antenor, Archilochus and Acamas, both skilled in the arts of war. They that dwelt in Zelea, under the lowest spurs of Mount Ida, men of substance who drink the limpid waters of the Aesepus, and are of Trojan blood, these were led by Pandarus, son of Lycaon, whom Apollo had taught to use the bow. If anyone's not super duper familiar with Lycaon, Lycaon is an important figure in a story of why the gods don't talk to humans anymore. Basically, the story goes that Lycaon was the king of Arcadia, and in the days when Lycaon was alive, the gods would commonly come down among the men, and it would be common for them to intermingle. They would talk. They would have feasts with them. Well, Lycaon, king of Arcadia, wanted to impress the gods. So he had his son murdered and cooked into a meal for the gods. And when Zeus found out about this, he flew into a rage and cursed Lycaon to turn into a wolf. This is why werewolfism is often referred to as lycanthropy, because of Lycaon. This is also the story of why the gods don't talk to people anymore, if you believe in the Greek gods. Anyway, so that's why I figured that's why Lycaon's important. Anyway. They that held Adrasteia in the land of Papisus with Pityaia and the high mountain of Tyria, these were led by Adrestus and Amphius, whose breastplate was of linen. These were the sons of Merops of Racote, who excelled in all kinds of divination. He told them not to partake in the war, but they gave him no heed. For fate lured them to destruction. They that dwelt about Procote and Proctius, with Sestos, Abydos, and Arisbe, these were led by Asios, son of Hyrtacus, a brave commander. Asius, the son of Hercatus, whom his powerful dark bay steeds, of the breed that comes from the river Saleus, had brought from Arisbe. Hippothous led the tribes of Pelasgian spearsmen, who dwelt in fertile Larissa. Hippothous and Pyleus of the race of Ares, two sons of Pelasgian Lethus, son of Teutamus. Acamas and the warrior Perus commanded the Thracians, and those that came from beyond the mighty stream of the Hellespont. Please tell me you're peeing in the litter box. Okay, cool. It just sounded like he was peeing on the floor, but I looked and no, he's not peeing on the floor. Oh my god, I would have been deeply upset by that. Anyway, continuing. Son of Odin. It sounded like he was peeing in the floor, but he's not, so we're good. That would have been good content. Oh, wow. I'm glad you think so. Euphemus, son of Trosinus, the son of Seos, was the captain of the Caiconian spearsmen. Pyrrhocmes led the Paeonian archers from distant Amydon by the broad waters of the river Axius, the fairest that flow upon the earth. The Paphlagonians were commanded by the stout-hearted Pylaemenes from Menete, where the mules one riled in herds. I just said one riled. Iliad reading gone wrong, gone sexual, gone pee. God damn it. These were they that held Caetorus and the country around Sesamus, with the cities by the river Parthenius, Cromna, Agalias, and lofty Erythene. Odius and Epistrophus were captains over the Halizoni from distant Alib, where there are mines of silver. Yeah, that was Dave, actually, in the chat. If I leave a comment in the chat while I'm streaming on this channel, I will specify that it's me. Otherwise, it's Dave. Chromis and Ennomus, the augur, led the Mysians, but his skill in augury availed not to save him from destruction, for he fell by the hand of fleet descendant of Iacchus in the river, where he slew others also of the Trojans. Phorcys, again, the noble Ascanius, led the Phrygians from the far country of Ascania, and both were eager for the fray. Mestlus and Antiphus commanded the Maeonians, son of Telemenes, born to him of the Gygaean lake. These led the Maeonians, who dwelt under Mount Tmolus. Nastes led the Carians, men of a strange speech. What, kitty? What? Your paws are so cold. Nastes led the Carians, men of a strange speech. These held Miletus and the wooded mountains of Theres, with the water of the river Meander and the lofty crests of Mount Mycale. These were commanded by Nastes of Amphimachus, the brave sons of Namion. He came into the fight with gold about him like a girl. Fool that he was, his gold was of no avail to save him. For he fell in the river by the hand of the fleet descendant of Aeacus, and Achilles bore away his gold. Lycanthropy. What are you talking about? Ouch. Sarpedon and Glaucus led the Lycians from their distant land, and by the eddying waters of the Xanthus. And that's the end of Book 2. Book 2 was very dry. It was a lot of blah, son of blah, of the land of blah. But if you're a complete fucking weirdo like me, I rather like it. Can we please read the Book of Necromancy? Which Book of Necromancy? We talking about the Necronomicon? And if so, which Necronomicon? We talking about Lovecraft's Necronomicon? Are we talking about the Necronomicon from Evil Dead? What are we talking about? But anyway, like I said, Book 2 is very dry. Like I said, most of it is blah, son of blah, of the land of blah. Munich Manual of Demonic Magic. I have a bizarre feeling that maybe my more religious audience wouldn't appreciate that. So I'm going to have to pass. It probably would be an interesting read, though. I don't know. I think as far as, like, hard literature goes, I'm going to stick to Greek tradition for now. We can read about Valak. Oh, that's what it is. Thick nun. God damn it. But yeah, like I said, I think as far as literature goes, for now, I'm going to stick to the Homeric tradition. That's not the same? Oh, okay. But yeah, I'm going to stick to the Homeric tradition for now. Which, really, the most important works by Homer, or at least the most widely known, are the Iliad and the Odyssey. Off the top of my head, I can't think of any others. I'm sure there are. I just can't think of them. And again, it's important to point out that Homer may or may not have been a real person. I'm 5 minutes behind the stream. Oh, we'll catch up, son. It's also interesting to note that Homer was Ionian. Black Book of Angels. Anyway, like I said, Volume 8. Homer was Ionian, which is important because... Hold on, I'm going to have to pull up a map to truly point out why it's interesting that he covers the Trojan War. Only eggs can sustain me. Let me pull up a map. His boy Elroy. Hold on. Wait, yeah, here we go. Here we go. Yeah.
If we just pull up this map here. There we go. Josh Jepson, his boy Elroy. In before Squid gives Dave a child audience for Christmas. Dave's gonna have a bunch of kids asking for Fortnite. And what the fuck is Pop Tropica? Also, I feel like talking about like history and mythology is the best way to avoid a child audience. Thank you very much. Anyway, bring up this map here. There we go. God damn it. Kids like demonic shit. I mean, history is not demonic. I don't know. I don't quite know what you're talking about. So anyway. Here's a map of the area. Here's a map of the area. We have... Up here we have Troy... Or, hold on. Let me find... There we go. Save image. There we go. Around the time Smash Ultimate comes out. Oh, shit. Yeah. Oh, man. That's going to be interesting. I'll move that real quick. Yeah, that is going to be... Oh, I'm sorry, Dave. Oh, I'm sorry, Dave. All right. So, obviously, here we have Troy. I'll keep my hammer warm till then. Here we have Troy. Now... I bring up that Homer was Ionian because this whole area over here, later on, obviously by the time Homer was born, this whole area would be Ionia. I know a kid who read the Necromantic Ritual book. That's nice. Ionia, of course, Ionia was like Greece, but not. What city was Homer from? Let's see. Central Coastal Anatolia. Nobody knows where exactly he lived. Crete looks like a little man sleeping. It kind of does, yeah. It kind of does. So, just so we have an idea. Just so we have an idea of where the heck Argos is. Because Argos is kind of a big deal in the Iliad. Argos is around here. It's on the Peloponnesus, but it's not... That area Corinth is on looks like the Lorax. Does it? But this is also where, obviously this is where Sparta is, this is where Corinth is, this is where Olympia is. It's also where Argos is, and it's very weird that this map doesn't have Argos on it. Because, well, with Agamemnon being the king of Argos, it's kind of weird. It's bizarre to me. But anyway, not only is Agamemnon from Argos, I believe Achilles is also from Argos. Let's see, where is he from? Because I don't think it mentions it. Because here's the thing. when the Iliad was being told, the characters in it were already widely known. Achilles was already a widely known character. Menelaus was already a widely known character. Hector was already a widely known character. Agamemnon was already a widely known character. Odysseus was already you get the idea. None of these characters were of Homer's creation. All of them originated from tradition from before Homer's time. It's even possible that some of the kings might have actually been historical figures. Maybe not Achilles, probably not Odysseus. Oh god. Probably not Odysseus, almost definitely not Hector. But it's possible that Priam, Menelaus, and Agamemnon were in fact historical characters. That they were in fact real people at some point that have been characterized in just such a way. So yeah. I just think it's interesting that even though Troy is right here, Homer would have lived somewhere over here. We don't really know where he would have lived. The thing with Ionia is Ionia was a system of Greek colonies that eventually kind of stopped being Greece. Like, how do I put it? Look closely, you can see Squid's bullshit. Nibiru 618. God damn it. Think of it like... Don't think of it like how the American colonies split from England. Because it's not quite like that either. Because Ionia would have split from Greece much more peacefully. Ionia was considered... Think of it like a parent-child relationship. Like, yes, the parent is responsible for the child up to a certain point. That's how the Greeks considered the colonies. They were responsible for the colonies up to a certain point, but after that, they were on their own. If we were looking at a much larger map of the Mediterranean, we would also see Syracuse and Sicily, which were both Greek colonies on and around the Italian peninsula. Obviously, Sicily's not on the Italian peninsula, but you know what I mean. But, yeah, eventually those weren't necessarily considered proper Greek city-states, but they were still considered Greek. Unlike, say, Macedon, which was not considered Greek. It was considered Greek-ish, but not truly Greek. Whereas Ionia would have been considered truly Greek, but not quite the same as the Greek city-states of Athens, Sparta, Corinth, Argos. You get the idea. So it was a lot like that. But anyway, I just wanted to say that for a lot of what Homer is saying, it's very little of this is something he's making up. Hey, it's the grade 8. I don't know if that's Voss or Kelp. Oh, BRB. Minecraft was foretold in the grimoire of pagan occult. God damn it, Fahad. Yeah, I'm assuming because they had to BRB, it is in fact kelp. Yeah, it's kelp. Sorry, kelp, but this is kind of the tail end of the stream. You missed the reading, which is fine because it was very dry reading. It was this reading was mostly, and these were the commanders of the Greeks. It was blah, son of blah. And he was from the land of blah, where they all wore funny hats. That's basically how this reading was. I'm so sorry. It's alright. The archive of this will be put up on my channel. I just wasn't able to stream it there. Because I was a naughty boy. And I offended the great god Omnom. We talked about bringing the demons forth from the depths of Tartarus. Yep, totally. But yeah, it's just neat to me talking about this kind of stuff. Cause like, alright, you've got a lot of characters that existed prior to Homer telling the story. Like I said, Achilles was a character prior to this. Demonic seance when? Stop it. Dyed black cherry thing. What is this? Like, what kind of dyed black cherry thing? Because, I don't know. It's just neat. And obviously he mentions Heracles, and he mentions stories about that. Heracles is a very, very old Greek story. Like, you've got, from Burger King, like a freezy. Oh! Drinking blood. I haven't been to Burger King in a while. I didn't even notice you spelled king wrong. You wish I was a vampire. Maybe Voss does. I don't know. Then again, I don't know. I don't claim to know Voss's kinks, so. Musa Galan, 2018. I don't claim to know Voss's kinks. Anyway. Let's look up where some of these places are that he mentions. Let's look up where some of these places are that he mentions, because he mentions Phrygia at some point, which is interesting. Because... Let's see. Nastes led the Carians, who were men of great strange speech. How do I play many of the pagan crafts with you guys? See, Priam's son, great Hector of the gleaming helmet. Dardanians. Who the heck is alright, Dardanians. Read Voss's paper before we play, though. Alright. Your friend's social security number. Alright, Dardanians. Dardanai. Let's see, which would be which in actual Greek would be Dardanoi. Would be Dardonai. Yeah, Dardanai. Dardonoi. That always fucks me up. And the Dardanians lived over here, which means it's interesting. Which means it's interesting when the Dardanians are fighting for the Trojans, when the Dardanians are here and the Trojans are here. Like, there's the whole Aegean over here. BRB, all right, Kelp. So let's see. Who else is mentioned? Because like I said, I think they mentioned Phrygia at some point. Let's see. Hector, the Dardanians. Zelia. Where the heck is Zelia? Zelia. Oh. Oh, would you look at that? See, Zelaya is the name of an ancient town or city, according to the Iliad, which was allied to Troy. It appears to have been located in the Troad and to have been inhabited by Trojans. Alright. They who lived in Zelaya below the foot of Mount Ida, who drank the waters of Asipus, Trojans. Oh, where is the Troad? Oh, alright, I gotcha. Fahad, do you not know how credit works? Okay, so this up here is this little chunk of land on Asia Minor, which is now modern day Turkey, this is the Troad. Phrygia is somewhere over here. I think Ionia is right here. You mean what? Because you seem very confused by how credit works.
What else is mentioned here? This is interesting. Eldor dressed Aldristea and the lands of Apiesus.
Aldrastea. That's not right. The fuck does credit have to do with Minecraft with friends? When you said to give her this, when you said that when you asked if you needed her security card number or her fucking social security number. I put the lid back on and then tried to drink it anyway. What the fuck is wrong with me? Mine of the occult crafts. Minecraft! From what I heard, and maybe I should say this off stream, so that way the normies don't get upset. No, I want to play Minecraft with you. No, you can't play. You cannot play Minecraft with me, young one. I do not play Minecraft with the young people. Anyway. Anyway. All I needed to play with Kelp was her Minecraft name, and I'm assuming that's all I need to play with Donald or you either. Like from your Minecraft account or your Mojang account or whatever the fuck they call it nowadays. I don't know. No, me want to play Minecraft to play with you. Me want to play. Me play me 12. Anyway. That's been the stream. I'm gonna wait till Kelp gets back to end it. I'll be right back. I'm gonna hit the BRB screen. Alright, I'm back. So anyway, regarding anything that's been going on, does anyone have any burning questions about the war, why it started, who's in it, the history of these characters before the Trojan, before the story of the Iliad? Does anyone have any questions as to, like, what were these characters up to before now? Does anyone have any, like, basically just any questions? Me want diamond pickaxe. Maybe I should make a separate channel for, like, the historical stuff. Maybe that would be a good idea. That might be a good idea. that might be a good idea. Huh. Might get on that. Thank you, Fahad. Thank you for making me think of that. How get enchantment? I should have known. I should have fucking known that I can't do anything serious on YouTube. Otherwise, I've already destroyed. You're welcome, man, very much. What about my welcome, man, very much? Welcome back, Kelp. So, Kelp, any questions? I know you missed the reading, but it's fine. I don't mind summarizing. The basic summary. In fact, these have a helpful little summary at the beginning of every book. A handy little summary here. You know how much you're going to on this morning, and then you have a lot going to do. What the fuck, Fahad? What the actual... That one was giving me a headache. I had to delete it. Anyway, so the summary of book 2 is... actually... Azlushi. My brain feels like Azlushi. So anyway, Zeus, keeping his promise, tricks Agamemnon with a false dream into imagining he can capture Troy at once. A slushy? Oh. I'm gonna put you in timeout. Stop it. Quit it. Agamemnon craftily tests the spirits of his men by telling them that Zeus has bidden them give up the siege. Athene, sent by Hera, inspires Odysseus to oppose the plan, and with Nestor he incites the host to continue the struggle. Both armies muster for battle. Their chiefs and forces are counted. Is Dodo going to play with this? Oh, that's a question for Dodo, not me. But yeah, I should put my bookmark in book 3, not book 2. That way, when I continue this later. That way, when I continue this later, I'm not like, alright, it's time for me to read the book 2. And then everyone's like, no, dummy, you done read book 2. Oh man, can we get that sound again? Can we get that sound again? Holy shit. I love that sound. Oh. Oh man. There's nothing like it. There is nothing like the sound of just fucking... Oh. Too bad you can't talk about me right away and then. What the hell does that even mean? Fahad, why are you speaking fucking gibberish? Slamming the book closed? Yes! It's one of my favorite sounds. Just fucking, like, I love ebooks. I'm all for the idea that ebooks are the future. But, like, You can't do this with an ebook. You can't do that. Hold on, wait, no, that was weak. That was weak. You can't do this with an ebook. Oh! Oh! I'm rock fucking hard right now because of this. Hold on. New book smell. That's another good one. Oh, this book even still has... I've had this book for like 8 years. And it still kind of has that new book smell. One more. Oh! I'm putting you in timeout, Pod. You can't keep hitting me with gibberish. I'm putting you in timeout. You can't keep hitting me with gibberish, Pod. I'm sorry. Anyway. Ugh. I missed the support the stream thingy. It'll be back. What the fuck was that? Anyway, Tom, it seems you've missed the stream, but... Oh my god, Tom, it's so weird seeing your name not in blue. Hold on. Papa Squid called us hose. Yeah, like a garden hose. You know, like a useful tool in keeping your garden alive. Tom, a hose is a rubber thing that you attach to a water spigot and water comes out, and it's very helpful in gardening and maintaining your lawn. That's what a hose is. No. I don't know what you're about to I don't know what you're about to tell him, Kelp, but it's gonna be lies. Squid, don't lie to him. Why are you calling me that? Why am I calling you what? Tom? Isn't that your name? Or why am I calling you hose? I'm not calling... it's... It's a joke, Tom. It's okay. You're not a hoe. You're not a hose. You are, in fact, not a garden hose. Anyway, Tom, rejoice in this glorious sound with me. I love it! Oh! 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 Yes! Mmm. Anyway. So, yeah, that's the stream, kinda. Okay, no, Papa. Johnny do 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 Johnny do 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 Johnny do 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 yes, Papa. Eating do 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 eating do 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 eating do 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 eating sugar. Am I late? Yeah, unfortunately you are late. You missed the reading. You missed my geographical explanation. Scared the shit out of me for a minute. Johnny do 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 Johnny do 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 Johnny do 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 yes, Papa. Eating do 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 eating do 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 eating do 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 eating sugar. 90 days too. He can't change it. Anyway, get the fuck out of here, y'all. We'll talk about Minecraft in the we'll talk about Minecraft in Discord. So, peace out, y'all. I'm gonna upload this to my own channel.